Hello, everybody, and welcome to Titan Talk, a San Marino High School teacher-hosted, interview-formatted, bi-monthly podcast. We're your hosts. I'm Peter.
And I'm Andrew. And on behalf of Peter and myself, I want to thank you all so much for joining us today for episode 4 of the SMHS Titan Talk podcast. Also joining us today is San Marino High School senior Calvin Ryan. Calvin, how are you today?
Good. How are you?
Excellent. Calvin, Pete and I heard through the grapevine that you are currently working at InNOut, an essential service to many people. Can you explain to us when you got this job, how you got this job, and go from there?
Yeah. So I work at store 121 in Alhambra. I've worked there for about 9 months now. I started working last June. And I got the job last year because basically my mom, I had asked her for a birthday present of a personal computer. And I showed her the price tag, and she looked at me with her mother glare, and she said, "Get a job." And so I applied to InNOut, and I was fortunate enough to get the job. So we went from there, and now I've worked there ever since.
Calvin, it's been a long time since I've applied to work at a fast food restaurant. It's also been a long time since I've eaten in it, In-N-Out. I'm a big fan of the burgers. But starting off, let's do this. The application process, what's that like these days? How does that work?
Yeah, so basically I started out, there's a link you can go to on InNOut.com or something, and it's an application to become an associate. That's what we're called at InNOut. We're called InNOut Associates. And I clicked the link, and I applied to 121 and a few other surrounding stores. And once I got approved through the email, it's a registration that takes, I think, 90 days. And if they contact you back, then you get a group interview. And if they don't contact you, well, guess you should apply somewhere else. And but I got the email back. They said they'd like to have me at a group interview. And so I went to the group interview, and I was interviewed with about 5 other people, but there were about 20 people in the room. We were all taken into small groups. And then I was called back from that interview with about 4 other people, and we were all interviewed individually. And apparently I made an impression, and I got the job. So that was how that went.
Calvin, you've been working there now for almost a year. What job do you actually do there? Do you rotate jobs, or do you have a specific role when you go in every day?
I rotate. I do anything from taking out the trash to now I'm even learning fries. That's the thing that I've learned most recently. And so I could be frying the potatoes when you walk by, or I could be taking out the trash. I could be making drinks for the drive-through, cash register, taking orders outside. Really anything. I do pretty much everything except for cooking and assembling the burgers. That's the level 6 and the 7 jobs. And they're the cooks, and they really make everything happen. But I'm down doing the nitty-gritty, all the odd jobs around.
Do you have a favorite job?
Yes. Dicer loader is very fun, which is the person that dices up the potatoes and loads them in to the fryers. And it's pretty easy once you get the rotation down. And I think it's very active, and it's engaging, and it's fun to be doing. It's better than being on the drive-through drinks when somebody orders 7 chocolate shakes at one time.
So if I went up to In-N-Out and I got, does it look still today like it did before shutdown? I mean, there's still a drive-through. People can still see you behind the glass and all of that.
Yes, that is correct. So basically, the only thing that has changed is our diner is closed to the public, and the outside dining areas, the patios, we now have caution tape over it so that people don't sit down there and contaminate anything. And so we have signs on the door saying we're drive-through only. But what we do that's very cool is if somebody is a first responder, like for example, if there was a police officer that wanted to get in and out, they couldn't go through the drive-through because then they'd be stuck. So what we do is if we see there's a first responder outside, we'll go out there and we'll take their order. Or if they don't have a vehicle, then we will also take their order as well. So I think that's pretty cool.
And wear masks in there?
Oh, go ahead, Pete. Go ahead, Pete.
Yeah, so we wear masks now. We were provided them, I believe, on either last Thursday or Friday. So we're ahead of the curve, but we're all still playing it by ear. I just do whatever my manager tells me to do, and we hope that everything else goes according to plan. But there's not really much of a plan due to this. This hasn't happened before, so we're just seeing how it goes. Yeah.
Calvin, so many people in the United States are out of work. Certainly young people like you, it's hard to get any sort of job. And just the thought of even going outside for some of us is a tough thing. How do you feel going to work every day and providing this essential service for people?
Well, I feel like we're doing as good of a job as we can to stay clean and to stay safe. Whenever we're taking orders from cars, we're staying as far away from the car as possible while we're trying to hear them. We're wearing our masks. When I'm handling money now, we're wearing gloves. We didn't used to do that. And now that even if I'm taking money from customers, I'm not allowed to be doing dishes anymore with the same hands that I am taking money from. So we're doing every precaution that we can to stay safe, and I feel very comfortable continuing to work and provide a service. And I'm just fortunate to be a little younger than many other people, and probably a little bit safer from the virus than others are. And I'm just very fortunate to be in the position that I am right now.
Yeah, Calvin, the people you're working with, what's that like? Is everybody just kind of keep their distance? Is there a sense of camaraderie? What's it like being in there with others? How do you guys all get along right now?
There's a huge sense of camaraderie. I mean, I would almost consider In-N-Out to be like a home away from home to me. I'll put it this way, I have not met a bad fellow associate yet. I have never had a bad experience with another coworker, and everybody there is so kind and heartwarming. And we're all just doing this together as a family, pretty much, and trying to get through it together. So it's really awesome, and it's a great environment to be in.
Calvin, if you don't mind me asking, I hear all these stories about people who are working still, restaurants, stores, markets, those kind of things, fast food. Did In-N-Out give you a bonus or any sort of incentive to stay at work?
Yes. So actually, it's phenomenal what they do, man. They just we have a great CEO and owner of the company. The In-N-Out's been family owned since they started in 1948. And now it's gone all the way down to Lindsay Snyder, who is the granddaughter of the original Snyder family that opened it. And she gave us all of the part-time workers and full-time workers a bonus, even if we weren't working, even if we were on self-quarantine. And for those of us who decided to keep working, she's given us a paycheck guarantee for the amount of hours that we usually would work, even if those hours aren't available to us at our stores, because the shifts that we are on now are generally less people because we only need to operate a drive-through as opposed to operating a drive-through and a walk-in. And so we don't have as many hours usually, but she's given us some sort of paycheck guarantee, so we know that we have a check coming in, even if we don't work all of the hours that we usually do, which is phenomenal. And it's just such a benefit to be a part of. And I'm very grateful for everything that she's done for our company. And
that's nice. That's really nice what they're doing. What about the customers? I mean, it seems like the owners there are showing great appreciation and also providing great support. What about the customers? Do they show any special kind of appreciation for the work you guys are doing as they go through?
Yeah, we've had a few moms actually going through the drive-through, and there was one mom that she had 2 kids in the back, and she rolled down their windows and she turned back and she said, "Hey, say thank you to the people that are working." And so we got some waves from some toddlers saying thank you. And so all of these people say thank you for continue to work during this time. And it's just really awesome that we get to provide this service and stay open. And I guess we're essential. Yeah. Just trying to
Calvin, there's no question in my mind that fast food restaurants and especially places like In-N-Out are essential services for people to get food. And I'm sure people are coming in there. I drove by today. The line is literally down the street. I can't believe how many people are going. Do you think you yourself, are you at all worried about the flow of people coming in with this coronavirus going around?
Our business is actually staying right around where it usually is. It's just everybody that was going into the diner is now going through the drive-through. So our lines are extremely long. And it's actually incredible just to see the patience that the customers have for us, and they're willing to work with us because we don't really have signs that go, because sometimes our drive-through wraps around 2 streets. And we had to actually make our drive-through go through our parking lot, and it's basically a Disneyland line now. And
yeah, I saw that.
Yeah, but it's just amazing how much that the customers are willing to put up with and be kind to another, because the line is so long and we don't have signs that go 3 streets down, and so people sometimes, I don't know, they just put up with the lines, and I've never gotten a complaint from a customer for waiting in the line so long. They make a joke about it, but they put up with it. So, yeah.
Calvin, are you aware of the folks in downtown LA, New York, elsewhere, but especially now here in DTLA, who, my community here where I am in Playa, who go to their back porch at night, El Segundo at 7 o'clock, most towns it's 8 o'clock, and they're applauding at night from their balconies, their porches, wherever. They're applauding not just health workers, but all those essential workers who are keeping things running. Are you aware that that's taking place?
Yeah, I read an article in the Los Angeles Times about it. And it's just so incredible, like the camaraderie that we're all having. Like, crime is down. Everybody's so much more appreciative of everything that goes on, that continues to go on in the world right now. And I feel like we're all trying to get through this as a human race, as opposed to everybody against everybody. And it's just so incredible to see. At least this brought us together. That's the one thing we're getting out of it. So.
Well, you sure have my respect and appreciation for going out there and doing what you're doing. Keeping people fed, and keeping people's spirits up. As I said, when I was younger, I definitely was a big fan of In-N-Out. It just brings a smile to your face to think about getting a burger.
I feel the same way. I remember the day that In-N-Out in Alhambra opened, and just the craziness that has gone on since then. How many people go to that In-N-Out? It has to be one of the most trafficked In-N-Outs in the state. I can't even imagine it not being. There's so many people there. Calvin, can you personally ever get tired of the food there?
Well, I've had a double almost every day since every day that I've been there since I've started. So sometimes I go for a Flying Dutchman, but we get a free meal up to a double every day that we work, and so I've taken advantage of that every day. So yeah,
that's great.
Yeah.
Calvin, is there anything about this experience that we haven't asked you and you'd like a chance to talk about?
No, you've covered In-N-Out very well. I think they've just done a great job, and I continue to look forward to working. I actually texted my manager and I said, hey, I was only scheduled 1 day this week and I know it wasn't. And I asked if I could be scheduled any more if anybody called out of work, and I wanted to go in and help. So that's the position I'm in right now.
Calvin, you're doing such a great job at this working and in and out and this experience. How can this springboard you in your career, in your college? You're graduating in a couple of months. You're moving on. How does this help you?
I mean, I feel like it's kind of a rite of passage for a young man to get a job. I mean, it got me my first car. You know, I'm finally driving around in my own ride. I now have, well, when I say new, I mean my 1997 Honda Civic stick shift that I drive around now. So I learned to drive stick shift. I just feel like having a job opens me up to so many different experiences. Just in the workforce, learning how to work with other people, even more than like group projects at school. It's taught me how to be a camaraderie with my coworkers, and I think that I'm going to take that into whatever field that I go into. And I'm really appreciative for the work that I did. Yeah.
Calvin, one final question for me. How you're working there, you have this community of friends there, but you missed out on some amazing things at the high school your senior year, baseball, all the senior activities that have been cut short. Is there anything that you would like to say to those guys now that you miss them, you want to be with them, but you're on the front lines working, and I think that's really amazing. Is there anything you want to say to those seniors that are going to drive through In-N-Out and get a meal now that they listen to this?
Well, if they're a senior and they're going In-N-Out, say hi. I'll probably be there. First of all, second of all, they're like, my class is just great. Like, we've gone through so much together as the class of 2020.
Right.
It didn't end the way we wanted it to, but I got all my buddies. I still make even now more than ever, I'm Snapchatting my friends like responses off their stories, and I'm calling some of my really close friends every day, checking in on how they're doing, making jokes about some of the assignments that we're getting on online, and I'm just having a great time trying to stay in touch with as many people as I can. And hopefully we'll get a senior prom. I don't know when it's going to be, but if it doesn't happen this year, then I'm going to ask a junior to take me back next year, and we're all
That's great.
That's great.
Yeah. Calvin, do you know any other seniors who are working right now, or anybody else that we should follow up with as interviewing and find out about?
I don't know. My really close friend Santino Zappia worked at the Americana, but that got shut down because it was part hotel. And I have a few other friends that work, but all of their places have gotten shut down because they're not essential. And so right now I'm the only person that I know that's working. And yeah, I'm sure there are others though, but that's my knowledge. Yeah.
Really interesting story you shared with us today. I thank you.
No problem.
Well, Calvin, thank you so much for joining us. It's really been an honor and pleasure to talk to you, not only as a 2020 senior, a class that I know Pete and I will never forget, but also a frontline worker. I have so much respect for you and for everybody else out there who's working with people right now in these just horribly difficult times. I truly respect that. And from you wanting to get a computer to working where you are now, you're a mature young man, and I'm sure that everyone listening to this is proud of you, and we are proud of you. So I thank you very much.
All right. Thank you. It's a pleasure to be on.
Yeah, we're all very proud of you. And I think the point Andrew just made was kind of interesting. You went from wanting a computer to getting a car.
Yeah.
Right, to getting a car. My very best to you, young man.
Thank you.
All right. Thanks, Calvin. Thank you so much for joining us, buddy.
All right.